Welcome everyone. This is Drayton Boylston, and we are here with the Coaching Crucible. And if somebody could just raise their hand and let me know that you can hear me okay, I would greatly appreciate it. So if somebody could just raise their hand for me so we know we've got all of you at the play. There we go. We've got some hands raised, and thank you very much for that. And I'm here with my twin son from a different mother, Mr. Gary Henson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coaching Crucible call for November.
November, Gary. It's November, folks. And that leads into what Gary and I would like to chat about today. We're letting everybody get in and get settled. And know, folks, as we move forward today, we want everyone, absolutely everyone, to participate, raise your hand, pose a question, because this will be a thoroughly working session. So right now we want you to pull out a pencil, piece of paper. You can go old school. You can do it on Excel, whatever you want to do. Get ready to work because we want you to put some things into action. And Gary and I were talking about we had a little gentleman's wager on how many people actually plan. So starting now, the planning season really, when I work with clients, Gary, we start at the middle part of Q3 doing our planning and then roll through and have the plans for the coming year done at the latest by the end of October. We just submitted some for some of our big corporate clients, their strategic plans. So what we want to do today is get all of you to go down this planning path. And so Gary and I were really curious. Let's just a show of hands, how many people are actually have planned or are currently working on a plan for 2014? Just a show of hands, everyone that's here. Let's see how many we've got, Gary. How many people have planned or are in the midst of planning for 2014? So we've got, Gary, remember what my number was?
I do.
Okay, and you remember what your number was?
I do. I remember.
Okay. Tell everybody what your number was, percentage-wise.
I was being generous because I know we have a stellar crowd that follows us on these Coaching Crucible calls. I was saying 50% of the people at best would have a plan. Okay,
50% of the people. And if my math is straight here, we've got less than that. So it looks like my number, and I love you guys, you know that. Yet I was
Don't take it personally.
Very realistic. Yeah, I was being very realistic. I told Gary I thought around 20%, and it looks like it's between 20 and 24%, just doing the quick math, of people that plan. So those of you that raised your hand and you've done your planning or you're in the midst of planning, that's awesome. That is awesome. And we want to plant the seed with the rest of you to start your planning, and that really starts with this call, Gary.
It does indeed.
So what we'd like you to do, pulling out that piece of paper, that pencil, whatever you want to do to write it down, we want you to, and feel free to post this. We won't say your name, but we'll give some numbers. We want you to come up with the gross revenue number that you will realize in 2014. So post it up on the board. Remember, this is private, only Gary and I can see this. So post it up in the questions section and what your number is going to be in 2014.
The big goal.
Gary, yeah, your big goal for 2014. So everybody just post, and it's going to be interesting, Gary, to see what kind of numbers we get here. Okay, keep posting, keep posting. We've got some numbers popping up. What is your number going to be in 2014. Oh, we've got some really interesting numbers here. Okay, keep posting, folks. We've got a good group of folks with us. So your gross revenue number in 2014, what will it be?
So we didn't do, Drayton. We didn't think this through all the way. Actually what we're providing is
to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, I don't know. I think you're a pretty good planner and you think things through. But I just realized that you're going to be able to give people a range of the lows and the highs and what other people are doing, just to give people something to think about. And I think it's a great opportunity to have a bunch of numbers so that all of you out there, whether you're on the low side or whether you're on the high side, you have an opportunity to see what other people are doing, and then we have an hour to talk about that, Drayton and I, and help support you in creating a stronger foundation as you enter into 2014.
That's very well said, and that's exactly our desire here, folks, is to give you an idea. We've got folks from all over the world. We've got South Africa here. We've got, I know, saw a guy from Dublin was here. We've got people all over the world. So it's going to be interesting to see these numbers. Keep posting the numbers. So this is your gross revenue number for 2014, so a full year. And I know some of you internationally, it may be in pounds, and may be in something else, depending on where you are. But we're going to look at this just in U.S. dollars, if you will. So Gary, I'm just going to read these off because it really is interesting to see where people fall in and what their goals are, and it really is a window to their soul, isn't it? When we look at the revenue number that they're throwing out there.
It is. It is, and we also, I think you and I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not here to criticize you. We want authenticity. We applaud you for being brave enough to put that out on the screen that we can see, not that everybody can see, and take a look at that. And it's all food for thought, and this is a positive, encouraging conversation. So like I said before, if you're low or high, that's not going to make any difference to us. We're not here to judge you. We just want you to hear what others are doing so that you can take a look at into your window into your soul. You can take a look into your own soul and see where you fit into what other people are doing. And we realize some of you are brand new at coaching, and some of you are seasoned veterans, been around for a long time as well.
That's exactly right. There's no right and wrong with this. We want to support you wherever you are and wherever your vision is for your business. And so let's go from low to high, just to give you an idea of where some folks are. So we've got 60,000, we've got 66,000, we have 75,000, we have 130,000, we have 150,000, we have 300,000, got another 300,000, have a 350,000, and then we have 1.8 million. So that will give you an idea from, as Gary said, from maybe coaches starting out to people that are on the other end of that. And know that success is not necessarily gauged by dollars. It's for a lot of us that are mission-driven. It may be impact. It may be that give-back piece. It may be something completely different. This is just for the sake of planning from a revenue model standpoint and thinking these things through, because we're going to drill down from here in terms of how you may want to look at your business. So Gary, your thoughts on that, just in terms of that spectrum from 60,000 to 1.8 million?
Well, my first thought is that I was anxious to hear what the numbers would be, and I am not surprised. So that's pretty much what I would have guessed it would be, and I'm really excited that this particular group of people, that nobody was under the threshold of 60,000. That made me really happy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think when you look at all
I
the
see
data
too many
out
coaches
there,
that are.
yeah, go ahead, Gary.
I just think there are too many coaches that have limited their thinking, or coaches and even brand new people coming into the industry have limited their thinking to it is seeing is believing. And they're stuck on that. And they don't realize if they flip that coin over that it's believing is seeing, and that they can create and generate whatever income they want, and it's up to their thinking and their creativity to enable them to do that. And again, we want to talk about some of that today.
Mm-hmm. And I think a really important point to make here is that, I don't know of any really good coach that got into the business just to become a multimillionaire. It's a mission play, I believe, for everyone I've ever encountered that's entered into this profession. And let's keep that in mind. What we talk about when we do our trainings, we want you to earn more and learn how to do that so you can serve more. So earn more to serve more, because we know what the need is out there. And we know that there are so many people that need coaching that don't get it, and especially high-quality coaching in the business arena. And that's why Gary and I in particular are doing this program, so we can help those that are in this particular space to serve more people. And that's why the income, Gary, I don't look at it as you can go out and buy a Porsche or something. It's more you can serve more because you're earning more, and that tells me you're making an even bigger impact. And that's one of the seeds we want to plant today in terms of how can you magnify your impact, because I believe that's what we're here to do. So we've got this great range,
yeah, and I
that's
think,
wonderful. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to say, I think that's maybe the beginning point of this conversation is that for those of you that haven't embraced this concept, one of the things that my wife and I are passionate about is how much money can we create, how much income can we create. Now, keep in mind, legitimately and serving our community, serving the people that we serve, serving our clients and our students, how much money can we create? And the more that we revenue, the more income, the more taxable income we can create, the more that we can give away. And I just want to make sure that everyone got what Drayton said, is that some people have a fear of money. Some people are not sure about how much money they want to make. But remember, if you make $100,000, you can have a lifestyle of that $100,000 provides. If you make $200,000, you can have a $100,000 lifestyle, and you can donate $200,000, and you can make a pretty big impact in the third world country if you donated $100,000. Just as an example, I'm not advocating anybody do any of that. I'm just saying that's. I think you start off with doing the math, Drayton. So that's the math. The more you make, the more you can give away.
It absolutely is. And let's carry forward that math piece. So we've got a number of you folks who put up a number. I applaud you, courageous, great, wherever you are. Now we want to back into this. So this is kind of the starting point for planning purposes, because we've seen a lot of people throw out a number, and a lot of times it's an aggressive number, and they haven't thought through necessarily how to get there. So we want to kind of back into this. So whatever number you put up there, we want you to back out from that and figure out how many clients it's going to take you to get to that number. And some of you may be thinking, okay, I'm going to have a portion individual clients, I'm going to have a portion group clients, I'm going to have a portion of revenue from a number of different buckets. That's great. That's where we're going with this in terms of how, in a tangible sense, will you get to that revenue number. So Gary, let's let everybody kind of work through that right now, and and post it, next to your revenue number. If you want to go ahead and do that, that's great. Again, nobody can see this but Gary and myself, and it evaporates as soon as we end the webinar, so it's not going to be captured anywhere. So think about your revenue number and then bring it down to the next level. How many clients will it take you to get to that revenue number? And some people, Gary, may have already thought this through, and others may be thinking about this for the first time.
And if I assume that the way you structured that invitation, that, for example, if they have 6 clients they want to have on average throughout the year, and 2 group sessions with 5 each in each group, that would be a total of 16. Is that
correct?
Is that the way you would want them to? Okay, good. Just want to make sure that everybody gets that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we've got some people putting some numbers up here, and this what we want to achieve here, folks, is to give everyone relative information in terms of what's happening in the marketplace. Because Gary, the salary surveys I've seen, and I've been a part of some. We did one with Harvard. I was part of a research project with Harvard, about 2 years ago now. And that one was obviously very well done and very compelling, but it wasn't relevant for a lot of people because they took a different slice of the marketplace, and I think it gave almost a depressing view of coaching because some guys charging $1,500 to $3,000 an hour, and a lot of people may not be in that place yet. So what we want to give you an idea, these are real people with us right now putting up these numbers, that this is the way they're going about their business. So keep posting here, folks, so people can share, because we're all learning from this. This is helpful in so many different levels. So we have, one person said $4,000 a month, they're going to have 10 clients. So that's $400 per client per month. And it'd be helpful, the person that posted that, you know who you are, if you could just continue and say how you structure is that for 2 sessions, is that for 4 sessions, for more, is it something different? That'd be helpful too, to give people a feel for that.
Yeah, good.
So we've got another one here, 8 to 10 corporate clients. Okay, and this is an individual who put $350,000. So that's 8 to 10 corporate clients, plus 16 to 20 one-on-one executive coaching clients, plus 2 to 4 paid speaking events. So I'll recap that again. So 8 to 10, they're at $350,000 for the year. 8 to 10 corporate clients, plus 16 to 20 one-on-one executive coaching clients, plus 2 to 4 paid speaking events. So this, again, gives you an idea of how to structure potentially your practice to learn some things from the way others are doing it. And hopefully this is helpful for a lot of folks, Gary, because it'll give them an idea of where the different buckets of revenue can come from.
It's absolutely helpful for me because I'm just finishing my plan for 2014 along with the help of my partner, and things are coming up that I'm saying, did we think that through? So I'm actually learning as we go, and to those of you that didn't put paid speaking events or webinars or anything, group sessions into your plan for 2014, remember, if you plan all year long to have one in September, October, November, you don't have to know how to do that, or you don't have to be comfortable with public speaking or doing a webinar or whatever it is that you think a seminar, whatever you think you want to do. You have all year now to learn that, so you could increase your income and increase your exposure by including that in your plan for the 4th quarter of next year, and that give you 3 full quarters to practice and rehearse and get confident about doing that.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Gary, because you don't, a lot of people freak out and they go, oh man, I got to do this, I got to. Well, just you can phase these things in, as Gary said. You don't have to be, perfect and ready to go January 1, but right now you could be honing your skills and crafting this so you're building up to offering some of these things. We have the individual that said $4,000 a month. The way this is structured is 4 one-hour sessions per month, and that includes a resume writing package. So they're in the career coaching space, it sounds like. So 4 one-hour sessions, and includes a resume writing package. Okay, we've got this individual is at $66,000 a year, and they do 15 to 20 group coaching clients every 3 months. So it sounds like they're cycling a program that is for 15 to 20 people, lasts for 3 months. 7 one-to-one high-paying clients. Workshops, single and 3 in a series. One of those is on money. Okay, that's good. And 5 to 10 lower-paying clients. Gary, that brings up an interesting point, doesn't it, about having, and I've seen this model before, and in fact we've employed it to in a little different way, where you have higher paying clients that basically, when you think about it from a revenue perspective, kind of support if you want to do pro bono work, or for maybe people in transition that don't have the funds to invest at this point in time, to build that service model that's a little different than what we see out there usually.
Absolutely, absolutely, and as you can understand and hear by what Drayton is saying as he's talking about these individuals, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and that's another advantage that you have listening to this call. You can hear how other people are positioning themselves, and you have the rest of the year to modify your plan and add to it and make some changes that might bring in that extra $20, $30, $50, $100,000 next year.
Yes, and what's beautiful about this arrangement with the lower paying clients, I'll give you an example, Gary, because this was just very timely for me. I facilitated 4 retreats in the last week. Yes, I am tired.
Boy, I bet you are.
They were all-day retreats. But the beautiful thing about this was that 3 of them were corporate and at a very high amount, and then another one was completely pro bono for one of the individuals that's an officer of one of the companies that engages me, who happens to have a child who's autistic. And sends his daughter to this school 100% devoted to autistic children. And this gentleman approached me. He said, would you consider it? He said, I'll pay you out of my pocket. And I said, no, you won't. I will be there, and I'll do this for you. And it was an unbelievably inspiring day. So when you structure it the right way, folks, it gives you the latitude and flexibility to do things like that, where you're not sweating it going, oh my goodness, how am I, that's an all-day event, and it takes you, twice that to plan for it, and then another amount of time that's the similar amount of time you spent doing it to follow up well, and yet it gives you the latitude and takes that pressure off. So remember that, we're here to be of service, and by structuring your business the right way, thinking about that give back component, that pro bono component, or taking lower priced clients, that's part of this model too. So we've got you guys are doing an awesome job with these comments. Okay, this individual said on average 4 individual clients per month, that's $3,200 a month, plus 4 workshops, earning on average $6,000 to $62,000. Well, that's where she's getting to the $62,000. Okay, averaging $6K. So that leads to income of $62,000. You guys are doing a beautiful job with this math. That's what we want you to do, is think through this. So that was 4 individual clients per month at $800 per client, plus 4 workshops earning an average of $6,000 gets them to their income number. That's exactly what we're talking about, Gary, right?
Yep. Doing the math and being prepared, and then taking a look at how you execute on your goals after that. But until you do the math, until you have it set up in your mind how you're gonna get there, you can't execute, or you can't effectively execute.
That's exactly right. We've got an individual asking about an executable plan, so let's continue down this path, because this is where you can get to the granular place where you're focusing on all of these things. So we're going from top line down to what you can plan for on a weekly and even daily basis, so you know how to gauge. We have an exercise, Gary, we go through with folks where it's called the day in review. So you set up your goals for the day the night before, and then you do the toughest things, the most challenging thing in the morning. You set your top 3 top priorities for the day, and then at the end of the day, you figure out, was I successful? Did I do what I set out to do? And that's where we want to get with this in terms of, are you doing that? So let's continue to drill down. So think about your gross revenue number, and then how many clients it's going to take. And I love, Gary, that people are thinking of group coaching, they're thinking of speaking, they're thinking of all these different things that you can, ways you can make money. And Gary, what do you think about just putting up this making money list? Do you want to do that?
Sure.
And this will give folks some ideas in terms of the different ways, and we have approached some of these things, but I'm just going to throw this up here, and this will be captured on video that you guys will have in the replay, and you can look at some of the options here just as you're doing the math, the different ways to make money. So we have 50 different ways to make money here. So I'm just going to kind of power through the list to give you an idea, and this is the tip of the iceberg. Gary, how many ways do you think there probably are to make money as a coach?
Oh gosh, I think there's no end. There's
Exactly.
it's limit. It's unlimited. Everything from one-on-one coaching to being Dr. Phil on TV.
There you go.
Everything in between.
There you go. So we've got one-on-one coaching, group team coaching, which some people have talked about, assessments. Where do they fit in to your model? Being paid for referrals and having a referral network is huge. Facilitation, I will tell you, if you're a coach, you can facilitate, and you will be highly compensated by organizations that need you desperately. I just saw something this week about the whole facilitation approach, which is underserved. Retreats, master ceremonies. Gary, you were talking about the speaking piece. Teleclasses, just what we're doing now. Is certainly this is a public service thing, but you can do what we're doing right now with teleclasses and webinars and monetize it. Guest speaker, guest expert, HR. There's all kinds of HR needs that are out there that coaches can help with. Writing, creating, anything. We always say when you speak and when you write, it's intellectual property. And always think of it that way in terms of how to build a platform and monetize those things. It's just a different mindset. Joint ventures, and these could be through kind of affiliate work or a true joint venture with another leader in your space, maybe, in your particular niche. That's an option. Building courses, different way you've got a training center, Gary, we've got a training center. It's a great way to build a sustainable business and a platform, and it's worth the investment to build a course, again, specific to your niche, addressing their points of pain. It's a great way to build recurring income. E-books, writing things. It doesn't have to be daunting like a novel. It can be a 10-page e-book. Writing books. Getting retainers for business. They pay you in advance. And Gary and I will talk about that in just a little bit. Radio shows, TV shows, exit interviews on behalf of organizations. Top grading, that's where you help an HR function or just an individual, maybe it's a smaller business, go in and evaluate their employees and help them with that endeavor. Using assessments for pre-employment and for getting the right seats in the right on the bus. Big part of this. Strategic planning, huge part. That you don't have to be a strategic planning expert. If you have a methodology that you can embrace and simply facilitate that process, it's great for revenue. Leadership development programs, you can go in as a coach and help an organization work on these, especially small and medium-sized organizations, and create white papers. Again, intellectual property, you own that. That could be a giveaway in terms of an enticement for folks. Gary, the list goes on and on.
It does. You can, I was going to say, I just had an idea. You can write 10 white papers, one at a time, and then when you get done, that's the 10 chapters in your book. You put it together, and you have a book.
There you go. And a lot of people get freaked out about that. Just even the starting the book process is so daunting for folks. But take a look at these. Writing articles. Again, we've talked to all of you about being a thought leader. You just pick out a handful of these things, and you'll start down that path. You write an article, you start your blog, which then you can take that blog, make a number of entries over a few months. There's your first ebook, and that could be the start of your actual book too. So there's so many ways to take these things and knit them together to help yourselves out. Blogs, network. As you get, once you get established and build your referral network, folks, you'll get calls saying, "Can you? Would you?" Happens all the time. Training others within organizations. Maybe you're an expert in a particular group within an organization. We've got some folks, I know, and he was with us just a little bit ago. He's an expert in the millennial space. So you go in and train organizations how to deal with millennials, let's say. Lunch and learn sessions, different seminars. You can produce books. You don't even have to write. You see them out there all the time where people just cobble together others to write a chapter, and they just produce the entire book. Then once you get some of these products, you can repurpose them. And then you've got audio products. So I'm just going to let this list just kind of sit here for a little bit. There are endless ways to make income. Absolutely endless ways, as Gary said. So Gary, as we move down this, and you're looking at this in a more granular sense, so think about your income, desired income for 2014, number of clients, and then, Gary, why don't you speak to what people charge? And when you do the derivative math, as we're working through here, we've seen $400 an hour. We've seen a number of different figures. What should people be thinking about when it comes to what to charge?
Oh boy, you love to hand me the baton and just let me go on these favorite topics of mine. Okay, so I want to break it down. I don't want to take up too much time, and I want to be really complete with this conversation. So I want to break it down into a couple of categories. So I understand there's people on the call that are just getting started, and people that are on the call that have specific markets that they address. But so one price, one fee doesn't serve all. But I'm going to give you some formulas, some ways to take a look at how you can price yourself. First of all, the key that I see to coaching that is undeniable by anyone that brings the value to people is the transformation. In other words, if you're helping someone create a breakthrough in their life, a life life-changing event, if you're breaking down barriers, if you're helping them open up and work through blind spots that they have in their management career as an executive coach, as a business coach, and this can apply, you can apply to a lot of different other areas. I believe that that is priceless, that there's no dollar amount that you can put on something. If I'm coaching Drayton today and he has a breakthrough and that spills over into his marriage and his relationship with his son, and it alters their lives for the rest of their lives, what dollar amount can we put on that? Is that worth, he spent 2 hours with me, is that worth $400 an hour, $500 an hour? And I know people, and I have charged as much as $1,500 per hour, and I think some of the people that have paid the most have gotten the biggest benefit. They really richly embraced the coaching and really took it to heart. They knew that I was really serious about having them get results in their life. So the rule of thumb that I always put out there is that if you can bring that kind of transformation and alter people's lives, it's got to be worth at least $400 per hour. And again, the other side of it is I don't price, and we don't teach our students to price and charge by the hour. We always put it in a monthly retainer fee. So if you're going to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours a week with a client 3 to 4 weeks out of the month, and you're going to charge $400 an hour as an example, that's a minimum. And again, it's all relative to what you bring to the table and what kind of coaching you're doing. Then you can do the math, and you can do that. Figure it out how much you would charge. Now, I also want to put what I call a Drayton Boylston plug in here, and that is you need to realize that the market is underserved. There's a lot of coaches out there that don't have any clients, and they add to the statistics of how many coaches are out there. But there is more companies, more businesses, more governments, more executives, more people out there that need coaches, that have coaches. And every day I hear people saying, I didn't know coaching could be so great, and I'll hear two people talking, and they talk about what a great difference it's making in their lives. So there's lots of opportunities out there. There's lots of ways that you can go out and find clients, and my suggestion would be that if all of us on this call decided that we wanted to change the world, and we all went out and got 10 really great influential clients to work with over the course of this next year, we could have an impact on this economy, we could have an impact on the way that the world is, and we could have an impact on those individuals that we touch. And if you don't know this, and if you haven't gotten it yet and you're new in coaching, you'll have a great impact on your life, because my life has been altered and changed, and is so much better in the 25 years that I've been working with clients and students in the domain of transformation than it ever could have been in any other occupation. You get to change your own life, and what a beautiful way to do that, by watching others go from caterpillars to monarch butterflies right before your eyes. So that's what I got to say about that, Mr. Boylston.
Yeah, and that's where, what's interesting about the whole pricing conversation is it happens more between our ears than it does in reality, and the biggest objections are the ones that you will create for yourself, especially in the business world, especially dealing with organizations that are dealing with millions of dollars. The pricing issue it's just a moot point. It's they're not going to bat an eye at paying you, $400, $500, $1,000 an hour. They just will not. And that's where you look at all the data. I just saw something came through on how much life coaches make versus Executive coaches, I think they had life coaches like 125 an hour and executive coaches at 250 an hour, just one little survey that I saw. And the other piece of this, folks, is that executive coaching engagements, in our experience, and certainly the data bears it out in all the surveys, last many multiples longer than life coaching, just many multiples. But it's more the pricing, the investment that people will make with you. You come up with many more objections than your clients ever will. And just know that you need to charge what you feel you are worth and then add 50%.
There you go.
Add at least 50%. We tell people to double it. Whatever you think you're worth and double it. And so you might not get that one client. Well, it doesn't matter because you're making twice as much as you would have. So, and just know that you're worth it. Know that the work that you do is worth it, and charge accordingly. Now, continuing on this math piece, so think about and maybe revisit what you were thinking about charging per month, and think about, one of the things that we want to make sure you avoid is burnout. So the quickest way to get burned out is to have low prices, lots of clients, and be on the phone or be in person with somebody too many days a week. You'll last 6 to 9 months and just implode. It's not a model that's sustainable. So think about if you just have one-on-one coaching in your model, think about ways, look at this list, think about ways to diversify. Our model has always been that we teach, Gary, is 20% one-on-one coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The other 80%, a mixture of different things depending on who you are, your niche, et cetera. So you want to speak to that, Gary?
Yeah, well, I guess the easiest way to speak to that is just look at the list here. Drayton's got 1 through 12 on the screen, and what you can do is there's so many different models, so many different ways to do this. But what you can do is you can create one-on-one clients and start with that, and then there's as you're interviewing and working with people and doing demonstrations, there's a group of people that maybe can't afford your fee or they can't afford your fee right now, and they belong into a group coaching session. So you have your demonstrations, your one-on-ones with potential clients, and some sign up and some don't. The ones that don't, you can put them into a group coaching program. What I loved doing several years ago, I just had a lot of fun. I had some large corporate clients, Drayton, like as you were talking about, you've been working with in recent weeks here. And I love doing assessments and retreats for the same clients. So one of my clients used to buy $5,000, $10,000 worth of assessments from me a month. And then I would also do retreats for them once or twice a year for the executive retreats, the annual planning retreat. And then in the mid-year, we did a executive retreat so that we, in the middle of the year, looked at where they were and where they've been and forecasted where we could go and reforecast. And just one client like that can provide so much income. Then the other favorite part of my model was I love doing trainings. So I would add to my existing clients, I would add individual trainings that were not part of the coaching fees. And a lot of times I could see they were really, really weak in sales, and there just wasn't enough time in the coaching relationship to coach them up enough to get the sales up. So I would say we need to do a 1 day or a day and a half sales retreat for the sales department, the sales manager and sales department, and get results that way. Same thing with strategic planning. Same thing with holding employees accountable, with customer service and excellence, team building, leadership. All these areas you can do individual trainings, and they're extremely profitable for you, and they're very effective for your client. Your client doesn't have to go out and look for someone else to train them, and you don't have to go out and find more clients to do trainings for because they're right underneath your nose. Drayton, back to you. Those are some of my favorites.
Well, I think you hit on a really important point, Gary, and that is, my guess is we could sit down with any of you, and maybe we want to do this, Gary, in a future session. If anybody would like to volunteer for this, please raise your hand, because this could be very helpful, not just for the individual going through it, but for everyone to hear. We did a scenario, just a little vignette one time, Gary. We took this individual that had 3 paying clients, and within 20 minutes showed her with what she had how she could have a 6-figure business within 30 days. And people may be going, what, that's crazy. No. Well, the reality is so many people are so immersed with one-on-one coaching and just seeing that one client that they lose a bit of perspective in terms of that client's organization and what you can do within any of your clients' organizations, if that's your area of expertise and your work, that you can take a lot of these things that we're looking at here on the screen, take a lot of those things and apply them inside that organization. So if you've got 3 good one-on-one clients inside organizations, I can tell you that you've got a mother lode sitting there that may be untapped. And that would be great if somebody wants to raise their hand and just drop a note here. If you would like to be the guinea pig, if you need to have a few clients inside organizations right now that will take you in the next Coaching Crucible as a case study. And Gary and I, we just do it on a first name basis. If you want to do that to keep your anonymity, we can show you how to expand your existing business into a much bigger enterprise than maybe you have thought about. So, Gary, I did that on our behalf, but you okay with that?
I'm absolutely okay. And you brought up some, inside of that there's some questions. So I would think you're going to get a lot of hands on that for the 2 of us to work together with somebody to help them double, quadruple, sextuple their income in one session. And hopefully we'll have a lot of people attending that can hear that and or hear the recording. One of the things I thought about is if you get a lot of different ones, make sure that we have their email addresses. We may want to pick the perfect one or even 2 to do that with. And we want to make sure that we have a good working model, somebody who fits the criteria that you think would be really great for us to share as an example, a working example. And then the other thing is I want to slip this into my partner live in front of all of you. You and I didn't decide if we're doing a Coaching Crucible in December this year, so you could be thinking about when you sign off whether you say see you next month or see you next year. Yeah.
That's right. I kind of forgotten that one. Yeah. What day is that? I didn't even look at what day that falls on, for goodness sakes.
I'll check that out while you're...
Yeah, if you would, Gary, that'd be great. Let's do this, folks. If you want to participate and have, whether we do it in December or the one in January, just drop us a note here in the system with your email address, or feel free to email support@executivecoachinguniversity.com. That's support@executivecoachinguniversity.com. You've gotten emails from us, or if you feel free to email Gary. Is it Gary at businesscoach.com?
Yes, Gary at businesscoach.com. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either one of us, and let us know that you would like to play with us next go around, and we will walk you through. And it's all upside, folks. I mean, you could get some pearls here that could absolutely skyrocket your business. So we'd be happy to help you do that. And I like what Gary said. Maybe we take a couple of folks and see. Maybe it's over the next couple of Coaching Crucibles that we do. But we would love to help you. So keep that in mind. So drop us a note. So let's take this down even further. So you've got your revenue number. You've thought about how many clients you have. Hopefully you've thought about what the investment these clients are making in you. You've thought about your mixture of business, where it's coming from, what it looks like. Maybe you're going to incorporate some of these new things. Okay, let's break it down to a monthly basis. So think about every single month, how much income you're going to have to make, how many clients you're going to have in a given month, where your mixture of business is coming from. And as Gary alluded to early on today, think about what you're going to phase in. I love to look at the year and then think about rolling different products, offerings, classes over the course of the year. So it's not a static thing. You're going to just have one offering or two offerings for the whole year. Think about what you can phase in monthly, quarterly, semi-annually that you introduce. So you may do a product launch, let's say, in Q2. Layer that in as you look at this. And just make sure that when you're taking that snapshot every single month, that you're achieving what you need to. And this is a good time, Gary, to talk about, before we get to the weekly and daily, folks, you need an accountability partner. I have them. I know Gary has them. You need someone, it may be a coach, a formal coach. It may be someone else. It's just strictly your accountability partner. It's so important to have that, and that's a role we play for a lot of our clients. It's a role that you need to have someone play for you, too. So when you think about your forecasting that we're doing now, think about who's going to help you be accountable for all of these things. And make sure that you have that established, that framework in place to help you achieve these things. So you're down to the monthly basis. Now think about, break that down, and I know we don't have all the time to do this here, but we want you to break that down to a weekly basis in terms of your revenue clients, your product mix, and then down to a daily basis. And what we want you to manage to is that day. So define what success is on a daily basis in terms of income, in terms of new products, in terms of all those things that we're talking about here. Because what we find is that if you let the week lapse and then you do a review, it's already too late. You need to create the, build the muscles that you flex and grow and really maximize every single day. Now, it certainly takes some time off and do all those things, but your working days have objectives and manage to those and create success on a daily basis, which will lead to the ultimate goal of your 2014 revenue number. And it really comes down to, back as we've just done now, backing into all these things and looking at your efforts on a daily basis, and think about the projects that you're going to do. Let's say you're going to launch a new website. Break that down into very, very small pieces that are actionable on a daily basis, and create your plan based upon that. And do your day in review and grade yourself on a daily basis, and you'll be blown away with what you can accomplish. And these are the types of things you want to work with your clients around, too, around the whole accountability piece. So, Gary, what would you like to add around that? Then, since we've done this whole back into the revenue number and diversification of business and the buckets that the revenue is going to come from, and then breaking it down to a monthly and then a weekly and daily basis.
I'd like to add to that one of my favorite sayings, a quote from Dr. Stephen Covey: "Begin with the end in mind." Mm-hmm. Go to the end of the year and look what, as Drayton is saying, look at, like, these months. I'd like to have accomplished all of this by September, October, November, December. Begin with the end in mind. Look at all that, and then go back forwards and look at those different steps that Drayton just shared with you. How many phone calls or how many appointments or how in front of how many people do you need to be, et cetera, et cetera. They call that the lead and the lag goal. The lead goal is the one that gets you to your ultimate goal. And then what I would suggest that you do, it's something that we teach our people. I'm guessing that Drayton, you might teach as well. We have our students write a letter, and our clients write a letter. And you write the letter from December of 2014. And the letter is to your spouse, your best friend, somebody that's really significant to you. You don't ever even have to mail the letter, but you write a letter out, and you talk about all the things that took place in 2014. And you kind of visualize what the year looks like, write it out in the form of a letter. Again, you don't have to mail it to anybody. You could give it to somebody if you wanted, but have that letter include all the different things that took place and the happy things that took place. You know, by June, I was so far ahead of my goals that it was great. I took a week or two off, and I took a vacation for a week, and then the second week I donated my time to a local community event because I had the time, because I outperformed my goals, and I was ahead of where I thought I would be. So I took some extra time off, or I did an extra seminar, or I included a speaking engagement. You know, one of the things, Drayton, that I think very few people really realize or deeply understand is what I said at the beginning of the call. Is it seeing is believing, or believing is seeing? Putting all this on a piece of paper and visualizing that it's going to happen. That when these things happen, when somebody calls you and says, hey, I'm in a jam, my Rotary Club needs a keynote speaker next week, and the person that we had is sick and they can't make it. Can you make it and fill in? If you visualize these things, they come true, and you'll recognize them when they happen to you in real time. You won't be surprised. You'll be expecting that these things will happen to you. So those are some thoughts I have, Drayton, about what you said, and I thought you laid it out very, very well for people to set themselves up for a powerful 2014. And I'll slip it in here before I turn it back over to you. I don't think we're going to do a call on Christmas Eve next month, so we'll be looking for January as our as our next meeting.
Yeah, we'll be a little busy.
Christmas is on a Wednesday this year.
Okay, thank you. So we'll reconvene in January, obviously, but one thing I just want to emphasize what Gary just said. I have a vision board, and I have all these things on my vision board. I do my desires for 2014. They're done. They're sitting right in front of me. I've got a big vision board. I've got one printed out right in front of me that I see multiple times every day. I've got my desires for 2014 right in front of me. It becomes so ingrained that it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Gary, I just want to speak to one thing you said because I had a chuckle. We were getting ready to, this is just an example of what can happen. We were getting ready to, hadn't even introduced this yet, hadn't put a landing page or anything out there. We decided a week ago that we were going to do a live class for this one particular thing. It's called Coaching in the Workplace. So we're going to do this live class, and just our team had talked about it. We said, yes, let's do that end of January. We got an email yesterday from a very large organization saying we saw this and we saw this class on your website, and we were wondering if you would do it for us as a live class. Now, this is before we even put anything out there. We had just made this decision. And I know that sounds like woo, 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 but the reality is, folks, it's part of putting out there, making decisions, committing to things, and you will be blown away with what the possibilities are. So write these things down. That's the reason we had you go through this today. Write it, put it up. Write the letter, as Gary said. That's a great idea. Commit to others that you're going to make this happen, and it will come to pass with a lot of, and this is the caveat, inspired action. If you sit in your office and don't do anything all day long, it's not going to happen. I can tell you that. But if you take that inspired action based upon this plan, yes, you're going to be doing great things in 2014. So, Gary, you want to just wrap it up and we'll say goodbye at this point?
Yeah, thanks. I just want to thank everybody. We had another great turnout for the call today. I want to thank everybody for being on the call and for all year long for making a commitment to getting better, to improving, to growing, to expanding your awareness. Great, and I just couldn't say thanks enough times for that. That's why we do this. This is why we want to help you out, is because we want you to grow yourself. And next year, the person that had a 1.3 million goal, next year, if we have this conversation, we want it to be 2.3, and watch and support you guys in building your practices and your businesses.
Yeah, I'll second that, and we wish you all the best, folks, and we are here to support you. Please drop us a note if you'd like to be part of that incubation business hot seat, if you will. It's going to be a great hot seat because we're going to tell you how to make more money in January, and we'll lead off with that in 2014. So until then,
Very good.
we
Excellent.
send you blessings and great thoughts, and just know that we're here to be of service. So until then, everyone take good care.
Happy holidays.